For those of you who don't know me, my name is Remy Hart. I'm a financial advisor and senior wealth manager at Holborn Assets. I specialise in savings, investments, tax planning, retirement planning, predominantly for expatriate advice, and I have a big focus on Spain. I'm based in Spain myself. We have a few very prestigious companies involved today. Appreciate the time, as I said. I'll give you a brief introduction to them. We've got Jason Swan, also works for Holborn Assets. He represents the Holborn Pass area of the business and focuses on citizenship by investment, focusing on golden visas. So that's why we brought him in today, to touch on the Spanish golden visa regime. We have Gabriela from Sigma Size. She's an immigration lawyer specializing in people moving to Spain, assisting with visas and anything from an immigration point of view. And then Pablo from Move Spain, one of the owners and founders, along with his wife, Karina. They're a relocation company in Spain and help people with the whole transition process to Spain, from anything from the property purchase to insurance, pretty much anything, if I'm right in saying. But so, as I said, guys, I really appreciate your time today. This is an informative session on, the potential of moving to Spain. I'm sure we've got people who are joining or interested in these type of webinars that are thinking about moving to Spain in the process or recently moved. And we've got a few slides to run through to cover off as much areas as we can. So to give you an insight of the presentation, we'll start with the golden visas. Jason will give us a bit of an insight into the Spanish golden visa program, some pretty sort of new updates on that. Gabriela will touch on visa options for people trying to move to Spain, focusing on the non-lucrative visa. I'll touch on investments, pensions, and then we'll go over to Pablo to look at pretty much everything else. So without further ado, we'll start with Jason, if that's all right. We've got a couple of mugshots here of himself. You want to give us a bit of an insight into sort of what you do and how you assist in golden visa processes?
Yeah, no problem, Remy. It's nice for you to be presenting for a change instead of me. I can just sit back and just kind of jump in where I need to this time around. But yeah, hi to everyone. And I'm currently sat in Portugal, down the south of Portugal, where I've been for the past kind of few years. However, I actually moved to Malaga in Spain back kind of 2016 kind of time. So I've been in Spain I was in Spain for 5 years or so. Working alongside with Remy. And now, been over to Portugal. So I'm often between the two. Look, any questions anyone has around, obviously moving to Spain, for any of the guest speakers, you'll see a little chat box and Q&A section as well. I think we'll probably cover off quite a lot of questions as we go through some slides, but anything we miss, it's an interactive session. Drop in some questions. Feel free to say hello. And I'll try and cover off, everything that you need to know about the Spanish golden visa and, of course, Holborn passport. Just to introduce Holborn Assets briefly, we are a wealth management practice in Europe and globally. We actually have over 26 offices now and looking after over $3 billion between said offices. But about 6 years back, we launched a part of the group called Holborn Passport. And it's a service dedicated to help our clients achieve residency and citizenship in different countries around the world by way of investment. The Spanish Golden Visa is one of the most popular programs for those that are looking to relocate into Europe. And there's some quite unique aspects of the Spanish Golden Visa, which I'll cover with you shortly, by comparison with other European investment visas. And as a brief overview for Holborn, we offer a one-stop shop where we hold your hand right throughout the process of, first of all, choosing the investment to meet the criteria for the government to qualify for the visa. And we look after all the legal work, all the biometrics that are involved, liaising with all the different parties from start to finish, setting up bank accounts, applying for tax numbers, completing paperwork, collecting documents, and many, many other parts of the process. But please do, if you get a chance, type in myself, my name and Holborn into Google, type in Remy's name into Google. You'll see lots of content online and other presentations as well to hear a little bit more about what we do. And I don't think we've got any bad reviews, have we, Rem, in the main? I think we've got a pretty good reputation.
Not for myself, 100%.
Overall.
you're quite an online celebrity. So yeah, type in Jason Swan Holborn Assets and check out some of his videos. I think you've been on Place in the Sun and a couple of.
Someone will immediately now go online and put a bad review just to wind me up.
Do you want me to flick through a few slides for you, Jason?
I can see Pablo typing. I think he's.
One to that.
Hey, right. So we'll jump in there. So yeah, that's the Spanish Golden Visa. You've actually kind of brought me in right at the last minute on this one, Remy. So because of course the Spanish Golden Visa program is likely to finish, likely to be closing, shall we say, in the new year in January. We're hoping there may be an extension to the program. But at this point, all arrows are pointing to a closure of the Spanish program early next year. So fingers crossed that's not what happens. Last year we went through a similar process with the Portugal Golden Visa. It was due to close, and then right at the last minute, the government decided to let it live another day and simply removed the option of investing into property as a way to qualify for the visa. Now, currently with Spain, you can invest into property as a way to get the visa. And that, like I say, if it follows suit with Portugal, that may be removed in January if the program doesn't close entirely. But we shall see. But as far as what the program does in its current land lies, that you can get a VIP pass to live, work or retire in Spain. And by investing into a property in Spain, you have no minimum stay. You can visit Spain as often as you like, or as little as you like, and as long as you hold that investment, you have permissions to enjoy the country. It also is a route to achieve a European passport as well. And after a period of 10 years, on the basis that you have lived in Spain for those 10 years as a tax resident, you can also apply for a European passport. And at that point, as you will remember, I'm sure, Remy, pre-Brexit, it then allows you to live in any European country, as we used to be able to do as Brits when we were part of the EU. Whether or not you're looking to move to Spain or simply have access to Europe, both the Spanish program offers both routes. And just remember that if you do want to apply for the passport, you do need to spend at least 6 months of the year and become tax resident in the country for a full 10 years. For reference, we get a lot of questions around the Portugal Golden Visa as an alternative, which indirectly also gives access to Portugal, because you get a passport through Portugal after just 5 years, and you don't have to physically move to the country for any period of time in order to get the passport. So there's pros and cons of both, but the Spanish program is very popular, and it has been so popular, of course, it is now being closed due to the demand and increase in property prices in Spain as well. If you are a Golden Visa holder, you get access to all the benefits of being a Spanish citizen, apart from you cannot vote and you cannot run for president. But as long as you have no political aspirations on that front, you have all the access that you need to the healthcare system and the education system in Spain as well. And of course, 300 days of sunshine, which I never got to take advantage of because I'm always locked in my office until the sun goes down. But for those that are not working full time, 300 days of sunshine each year, and you're not going to go far wrong. I personally just about slightly prefer the south of Portugal for personal reasons, but Spain is great, great part of the world, and whether that's in the city centres or likes of Barcelona or Madrid or down on the coast towards our offices in Malaga, all is well. So I probably don't need to give anyone a geography lesson on Spain. As far as the program and what we do as part of the process, as a brief overview, as I mentioned before, we facilitate the whole process from start to finish. It starts with, of course, you selecting the investment, which I'm going to give you some examples of in a moment. To meet the criteria, we then apply for your tax numbers, we set up the bank account, and we start to gather the documents that we need to submit your application for the visa. Once we've done that, we'll then wait for the biometrics appointment, where you need to come into Spain and have your fingerprints taken and your photograph. And then we will aim to get your Spanish Golden Visa card within 6 or 7 months thereafter. That's it. Piece of cake. Simple as that, Remy. Simple as that. As far as investment options, so There's 4 routes to the Spanish Golden Visa. Option number 1 is you can buy any type of property, whether it's a residential or a commercial property, from 500,000 euros. You can invest into a Spanish company with 1 million euros worth of your hard-earned savings. You can simply leave 1 million euros in a bank account, which tends to be not too popular of an option with such low interest rates in Spain by comparison with other investment asset classes, but an option nonetheless. Or if you are in a fortunate enough position to buy 2 million euros worth of government bonds, that also will allow you to qualify for the visa. Now, we're talking about, as far as what Holborn assists with, we specialize with regard to the property investment side of things. Now, you have 2 types of property that you can buy, but you can actually buy any property that you want in Spain. And if it costs 500,000 euros, you can apply for the visa. And buying a home to live in is probably not something that you would need investment consult on, because it's more of a personal decision in line with where you want to live. However, if you are looking for an investment to qualify and to make some money rather than somewhere to live, this is where we can offer some value. And in particular, we source developments within the main kind of city hubs of Spain, in the likes of Barcelona and Madrid, where we have a very high footfall, an overall higher potential rental yield. And we source commercial properties in order to make some substantial profits as far as an income, and also as far as a capital gain when you come to sell the property. There's different types or projects that come available, anything from a local cafe to office space to a cattery, pet store, anything that's on a commercial basis. But we're looking really for 2 things: a high rental yield and high capital appreciation over those 10 years. 2 examples in particular. One thing that's quite unique to Holborn is we've actually negotiated with certain developers, whereas you can receive 10 years rental income all up front. So rather than having to find the full 500,000 for the property, you can actually take 10 years into income up front of 150,000 and use that towards the 500k that needs to be invested. So that allows our clients to qualify for the visa with just 350,000 rather than 500, and you have a guaranteed exit at the end of that period of 500,000 euros. And that's kind of your worst case scenario. Of course, the idea is you would make a capital gain at the end as well, but you can have those safeguards in place to make sure you have a minimum of 500,000. So, like I say, super quick crash course. For any queries that the guests have on the Spanish or any European Golden Visa programs, feel free to drop a message through to Remy or myself. Can bring you up to speed with our kind of current top picks as far as the investment selections. We can go through personalized costs for the program as well, which can vary depending on number of family members that we include and the type of investment route that you choose. But these in particular are 2 of the most popular that over recent months, as I say, that have that fixed income and guaranteed exit. And in my experience, Remy, most of my clients find it kind of stressful enough, sending 350 or 500,000 euros to a foreign country without the concern of, investment values going up and down as well, or property prices crashing. So more often than not, the kind of fixed returns and the capital securities tend to be quite in demand.
So obviously the Spanish ones plan to come to an end. I know you do a lot of Portuguese golden visas. They're becoming really popular. They're slightly cheaper, right, for an entry. When we're talking about golden visas, an entry into Europe to try and gain residency and allow you a passport potentially, but it's giving you access to the Schengen area, correct? Through investment.
Correct. Yeah. So with the visa, you can travel anywhere in Europe, and after a period of either 5 years through Portugal or 10 years through Spain, you can apply for your passport and then have unlimited access to any European country. And the key kind of difference between Spain and Portugal, as I mentioned before, is that you don't have to move to Portugal to get a passport. You can stay exactly where you are, and 5 years from now, have that ticket to Europe, whether that be a plan B if you need to leave the country for any reason, or it's a retirement plan to get into Europe, or for children to study in Europe, or simply access to free healthcare. Just having a passport on its way to you in 5 years is a great thing to have. But with Spain, you do have to physically live in Spain for 10 years, before you can get the passport. So yeah, there's pros and cons, but it depends on where everyone wants to head to. But if you're not looking to move straight away, this is where the golden visa comes in, rather than the other residential visas, whereas you don't need to physically move right now and commit to the country, for the next 5 or 10 years.
Can I jump in? Sorry, this might be a question that it's interesting for anyone listening. Is there any differentiation in terms of how long it takes through this passport, how long it takes to apply to the golden visa, if it's through Portugal or through Spain, especially considering that through Spain it might be closed in January, February? So how long does it take roughly?
For Spain, around 6 months to receive the visa. For Portugal, in line with the recent announcement, we expect 6 to 9 months for the visa. But we don't need to have the visa, Pablo, before the program closes. We just need to apply for it.
Perfect.
So as long as we've submitted the application before the law changes, then the clients are protected by the laws that are in place on the day of the submission.
Are you saying we should all apply now? Probably not us sitting in Spain, but people who are interested.
Maybe not you, Remy. I know you've not got 500,000, but for those that do have 500,000, then yes, if the Spanish program is something of interest, time is of essence. Like I said, the Portugal program, not so much. Should be around for a little while yet, but yeah, for Spain, it's kind of now or never. I think, like I said, we may get an extension. But we do not know that for certain just yet. And right now, it's looking like it will close in January. So yeah, don't hesitate with any questions about the Spanish program, and I'll do my best to reply promptly. And we could, of course, speak in a one-to-one meeting.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. So anyone obviously looking at a golden visa for a commercial investment, whether that be Spain or even to explore Portugal, just recommend having a consultation with Jason. He doesn't charge, which is nice of him, and he'll go through your situation and your objectives and provide some options for you, like we've got on the screen today. If your goal is to buy a house and perhaps gain golden visa status through that, Gabriella, that's where you potentially come in, and on all other aspects of visa options. And as I said, we'll touch on the non-lucrative visa, but the reason I've got this in front of us is it's one of the most popular ones as far as options for people residing in Spain or planning to reside in Spain. Obviously, I don't know how many options there are, but do you want to give us a run through on the alternative options for people working, for people not working? And obviously it differs in various countries, but shall I pass it over to you, Gabriella?
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's a very popular way also of having a residence in Spain with no need of investment, just to show some financial sufficiency that is established, the amounts that you need for the main applicant and for the family that is dependent. So you can have clear from the beginning how much is it could be incomes, passive incomes, or it can be a savings. What you cannot show as a financial sufficiency is incomes coming from work, because this is a non-working visa, and you are not allowed to work, and you are not allowed to work also from another country that is not Spain, because in that way you have to think about a digital nomad visa. Yes, if it's a working visa that you are working for another country. But this is not only can be pensionists, but also persons that maybe they have properties or rents that they are receiving from other countries, or because they buy a property and maybe they have it for some months in the year, and the others months they want to rent it, and they can show that income as well. So there are many possibilities, not only savings and not only pensionists. That also sometimes is a little bit mixed, the concept that is only for pensionists. Of course, in this case, you cannot work, but there are some types of possibilities after, for example, 1 year of being with this visa, to make a modification of your type of residency and apply for a kind of working residency as well. That is another possibility. After 5 years, you will have a permanent resident. And the permanent resident allows you to work. And after you are having a permanent resident, every 5 years, you are just renewing your resident card. And as Jason talked, in the similar way to the Golden Visa, if you are from a no Iberian America country, you apply for the citizenship in 10 years. But if you are, for example, as a second citizenship from one of the countries of Iberoamerica, like Argentina or Mexico, you have also that passport, you can apply in 2 years for the citizenship. So it's also very convenient. You can bring your family. The kids can go, if you want, to a private school. They don't need to be they can be in a public or in a private. They are allowed also in the public school. And what you don't have the right is to have the National Health Service from Spain till you have or the citizenship or a permanent residence. In the case that you have a permanent residence, yes, you will have the right to have the National Health Service. In the meantime, with a non-lucrative visa, you can have a Spanish private health insurance, but the costs of the private health insurance in Spain are really very low if you compare to other countries in Europe, for example. And they cover absolutely everything. And the health system, the private health system and the public one, are very good in Spain. So another thing that you have to take into account is that this kind of visa will be applied only in the consulate. You cannot come to Spain, as it happens in the Golden Visa, that you have the chance, if you have a kind of tourist visa or you are as a tourist, you can apply in the Golden Visa. In this case, you don't have that possibility. You have to do it from the consulate of the country where you belong to or where you are living. Okay, so you have to respect the process of each consulate. Each consulate has some slightly difference between them. So this is a general information that we are providing of which are the main documents that you have to submit in your application. But always it's important to have a kind of advice in detail of what you should bring to the consulate to do the things right and have a very fast also answer from the consulate, because also depends on how you bring the things and the documents.
This is where you come in, Gabriella, right? You'll hold people's hand through the whole journey from start to finish.
Sorry?
You will hold people's hand from start to finish?
Yes, absolutely. We are doing every day, and we see a lot of differences between consulates. So we are always with a lot of information, managing a lot of information, and many families that are in their processes. So
what do you recommend if people are thinking of moving to Spain then? Get in touch with you. You'll have a free consultation, just like Mr. Swan. Understand the situation, understand what option will be best for them, and then
we don't have free consultation. We don't have free consultation because our schedule is really, our agenda is totally crowded, and also because we provide really good quality information. It's very complete, and we analyze with the customer their case in particular, and I recommend a kind of advice tailored to that situation. Every client is a different story, and it could be suitable for you, but maybe for Jason, it's not the same situation. I would advise him another kind of visa, right?
So perhaps to speak to the guys that move Spain, understand all the relocation ins and outs, and they can pass them on to you to deal with the visa, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so it usually happens that when customers come to us, if they come directly to buy a property or to rent a property or any other relocation services, but mostly of the times their first step is the visa, because they don't have any visa and they want to move to Spain. Now, we do ask, and we provide some generic information, but we always tend to direct that customer, that lead, to Gabriela, so that they can have a very qualified interview with her.
Okay. Pablo, I've just pulled up this screen. I view you as a great starting point to have a conversation with. I'm a financial planner and can assist with the whole restructuring of assets. But from conversations with you and our ongoing partnership, it seems like you do absolutely everything. So it seems like a great first point of call to have that conversation. Obviously, you can understand the requirements and a bit about their situation, and then obviously pass them on to Gabriela for the visa process. But tell us a bit about Move Spain, Pablo, if you can.
Yeah, sure, definitely. So we aim to provide a full service for relocation. So our main goal is that any family or person who wants to move to Spain, they will have everything covered for their relocation. So they don't have to do anything. Even if they want to get their groceries when they arrive, if they want to have their groceries, we can do that as well. Like, we aim to really provide a full service. And now most of the people, they come to us because, as I said before, they want to buy a property or they want to rent a property. Something that I do want to raise is that sometimes they are not aware of how hard it is to rent in Spain. We are dealing with some occupiers issues in Spain. So this is also adding complexity. And sometimes when you come from overseas, you think, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm just going to land there, going to rent an Airbnb, going to rent something, and everything's going to be sorted in 1 week. And that's not how it's happening. Usually they arrive here and they will struggle, and they will also have spend on Airbnb during 1 month, which we are talking about 120, 150 a night. So it is very costly. So it is much cheaper to get in contact with us so that we can help either with the renting or with buying a property. And alongside, we also help if they come with children. We can also help assisting with the schooling. For example, if they are renting or buying and the property doesn't have any furniture, we can also buy the furniture for them. So again, we aim to provide everything about the relocation so that they can arrive and it's a stress-free relocation and they don't have to, deal with anything, and everything comes easy to them.
They pass the stress on to you.
Sorry?
They pass the stress on to you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a stress-free. I mean, don't get stressed. Enjoy the moment, because relocating and moving to another country, it is stressful. I mean, just get rid of everything. Like, you have to rent, you have to buy, and just moving to another country, it's a stressful moment. So we aim to just take all that stress for all the services that we provide, so that the move it's a really stress-free.
I like it. That's how you started the organization with Karina. You guys moved and transitioned to Spain and saw a sort of need in the market, and hence where the business was formed. And as I said, I love what you guys do. It's a complete package, and highly recommend speaking initially to get set up, especially around the property search. You cover pretty much the whole of Spain, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. We cover most of the cities in Spain. We get some customers asking for small towns. Sometimes, if we can help, great. Otherwise, we will try to direct that contact to someone else that we know that can assist them.
Yeah, perfect. And you help with all the sort of legalities behind the property purchases and renting, as well as insurances for the visas. And then the lovely Gabriella can process the visas and go from there. So, guys, I'm just going to touch on the financial planning aspect of it. Now, obviously, a good first step is to make that decision. Jason's quite nicely promoted the idea of Spain. I don't think many people need that promotion of the sun, and living in this part of the world, it certainly has its bonuses, but careful consideration needs to be taken within assets. Now, there's a few examples here of UK assets. I know we're going to have people interested from the US or other jurisdictions. Now, what might be a good setup in your home country, like the UK, would be an ISA or a pension fund that may be tax efficient in that jurisdiction. It certainly may not be in Spain. And that's where I come in. That's exactly what I specialize in. I focus on expatriate advice and transferring and restructuring of assets in the most tax efficient way for life in Spain. And again, I will have a free consultation. The purpose of my initial call will be to find out how your assets are arranged, what you have in place, what your plans are moving forward, what your objectives are, what your risk tolerance is. We'll look at alternatives to what you already have in place that is set up in Spain. So, for example, with an ISA in the UK or an IRA or 401k in the US, albeit there might be good vehicles and structures in those countries, in Spain we could set up Spanish tax compliant investment vehicles. We can look at alternatives to pension funds in various countries, and just ensure that the assets are set up in the best way forward, in line with the tax and legal framework within Spain. Mitigating tax is, sometimes I feel like a tax officer, and I certainly don't work for the Spanish Hacienda. And a big part of my job is mitigating tax and making sure people are set up in the right way possible. And that's where we come in. We have cross-border tax accountants who work alongside us and specialize in support for income and withdrawals going forward. But we're a wealth management organization at Holborn Assets. And as Jason touched on, we're one of the largest in the world. We have offices all over the world, and I think 20,000 clients, 3 billion under management. Myself and Jason certainly don't look after that much of assets, but we're very well established and very good at what we do. And look, there's no harm or no cost or no obligation in having a conversation, right? If you've got assets, whether that be savings, investments, equities, shares, savings plans, pensions, have a conversation with us. We'll provide advice without obligation, without cost. And following the first introductory call, I'll prepare any recommendations or suitability reports that will be sent to you free of charge. We'll get a chance to run through it step by step, but it's a sort of fact-finding process to see if and where we can help. And we don't just sort of set up an investment for you or look at a pension transfer for you and leave you to it. We provide an ongoing service. And we review clients every sort of 3 or 4 months, and we're looking to maintain the performance of the investment of the pensions, but also understand the situation, the objectives. Things change over time, and we provide that ongoing support. So we work a lot on sort of introductories and referrals, and we'd love to hear from anyone and everyone. And again, there's a no cost, no obligatory consultation available for anyone. And look, as far as advice, it is very much case by case, and depending on what you want to achieve. Do you want to spend all your money in the next 5-10 years? Do you want to safeguard it for your children? Is succession important for you? We can look at ways to mitigate tax for your loved ones. And the whole entire goal is tax efficiency in Spain, right? Even if you're in the UK and you're thinking of moving, it's great to have that initial consultation now. We can begin the financial planning process. There may be steps to take prior to the move. If, for example, you're planning to move next year and you've just sold a UK property, for example, or the property is going through, as long as that goes through by the end of this year, you're going to have no issues from a capital gains tax point of view in Spain next year. And again, that's where a cross-border tax advisor would step in and support our advice. I'm not a tax advisor, but we have professional contacts that we deal with. Again, like a pension, if you were deciding on taking a 25% lump sum, yes, that would be tax-free in the UK. It wouldn't be tax-free in Spain. So we'd recommend doing that prior to becoming a Spanish tax resident. And these are all the sort of ins and outs that, we're here to help with, and we can advise you and point you in the right direction along the way. I think the main point is with all of this, have a consultation with us. There's no cost, there's no obligation. Speak to Pablo about relocation and visas. If you're interested in golden visas, whether that's Spain or Portugal, speak to Mr. Golden Visa himself. Anything financial wise, savings, investments, pensions. We have a property investment arm to the business and a wide range of options available there around the globe. The options are sort of endless, and our scope of advice is significantly bigger than most, given the size of the organisation. We've been running for 25 years, and we're certainly not going anywhere. I've got a bit of a question and answers section here. Guys, I don't know if there's anything else to add following my comments.
I think you covered everything pretty well there, Remy. I was just going to say, don't forget the questions. Might be one for Gabriella there about the non-lucrative visa.
So could you please clarify, under the NLV, for a couple that are not married, but have been together for over 20 years, will they be treated as individuals financially?
I'm afraid yes. They are very formal to consider in a couple. The only way, if you have to register the couple in your country and you have a kind of certificate of that registration as a non-married couple, but you have a registration as a couple, you can show that with of course, with the stamp and the apostilla and whatever the country requires. And in that case, yes, but you should have a document that links that two persons.
Okay. Perfect. Any other questions? Fancy coming in? Feel free to. We're going to pop you an email following this call with details of our speakers today, and direct contact information if you want to get in touch. We'll follow up with a recording. Again, we appreciate you sharing this with anyone and everyone. Anyone who's interested in a move to Spain, by all means, get in touch. We're happy to help and support. Again, we don't work for the Spanish Tourism Board, but certainly very sunny as I look out the window in mid-end of November.
Sorry, there's Bob Morrison asking, and it is a really good question. It's a question that they often ask us very much. So Bob is saying, UK citizen got married earlier this year. Wife has Spanish residency. Which visa would be best? So sometimes one of them, they are Spanish resident, but not the other person. So yeah. Gabriela, I think you can probably answer this better than anyone.
Yes, we need to know which kind of residence that she have, so we can link that residence to her husband. Because, for example, in the case of a digital nomad, or in the case of a non-lucrative, or in the case of a high qualified worker, it can be in a normal working visa. Is different because you have to apply for a visa in the consulate. It depends on the case. Normally you can, but each type of residence has a different procedure of how to do it.
Okay. So it's very sort of individual and
yes, because we are not talking, but there is a big frame of different residences.
Okay.
They're asking here.
Residencia permanente.
Yes, here, okay. For, let's say in a term of 1 year, that is what the consulate will ask. For the main applicant, around 30,000 euros, and each family dependent, around 8,000 euros more per dependent, okay? You have to count that in a term of a year. This amount can be shown in savings, or it can be shown in regular incomes. For example, if you receive a regular income of 3,500, that is more or less what you need to cover that amount of money in a year. Is the same. It can be counted in the same way. Okay.
We can cover that off from a financial planning aspect, especially prior to the move, ensuring you're well equipped and set up for the non-lucrative visa. We have another question. How much is Spanish private healthcare on average? Could be a question for most of us.
There are a lot of different companies, but a very good one could cost you, for example, for a family of 4 people, of 4 people with the adults around 40 something, between 40 and 45, let's say as an average, it could cost you around 2,400 euros the whole year for the 4.
So slightly cheaper than perhaps the US.
Yes.
Is it the same amount for every year of the 5 years, please? I think this is regarding how much savings for a non-lucrative visa. So for the first 5 years, is that
how much is the price? Residencia permanente, no? Here they're asking how much Spanish private healthcare as an average. This we answer. Then is residencia.
Yeah, I think it's linked to the residencia permanente, what you were saying before, because they're saying, is it the same amount for every year? No, I think it's about the health insurance. Yeah, the health insurance, if it's about the health insurance, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's giving a price, it's a roughly idea, because this has many variations, and it depends on if there is any medical condition, it depends on the age, it depends on different factors that will change the price, but roughly that's the amount, and it might change due to the age, might change due to new medical conditions, it might change due to inflation, but it doesn't change just because it changes, you know?
I think it's about the non-lucrative visa. But Bob Morrison will come back to you if you pop us an email after. And then regarding the non-lucrative visa, we'll perhaps finish on this, Gabrielle. I'm conscious of time. But the same amount is required when we're talking about the 31,000 euros for the first 5 years.
If you're a pensionist and you are coming with your wife, imagine that is only one the pensionist. That person had to think that more or less the pension, even if he receives a monthly payment, should be in the term of a year, this amount, more or less 37,000 euros for a couple. Okay.
Every year for 5 years?
Every year. So in the first year that you are going to qualify there in the consulate for the visa, they are going to ask you for the term of a year. Okay. Yeah. So you can show if you have a monthly paycheck of your pension, or you have a certificate of your pension with what is your payment, that should be enough to show your income. You don't need to show savings apart.
Okay. Perfect. Well, guys, as I recommended, I encourage you to get in touch. As I said, have a chat initially with myself. Pablo will liaise with you and understand your situations completely from a relocation perspective and a financial planning perspective. We're happy to have these conversations. And as I said, please pass on the message to friends, family. Bring everyone over to Spain. We'd love to have you. Any last words, guys?
Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Remy, Gabriela, and Jason for joining as well.
Thank you everyone.
Good work, guys. Thank you very much.
Appreciate the time, guys. It means a lot, and all the best. Get in touch. Appreciate the time.
We'll see everyone in Spain soon, won't we, Rem? Getting a better tan than we've got. We have not seen the sun, have we, for a long time?
Cheers, guys. Speak soon.
See you soon. Bye now.
Bye.